Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. You are the salt of the earth. You are the smartest audience in the world, and quite frankly, you're one of the richest audience in the world. You make things go around, and I appreciate your time. Your time is very valuable to someone who makes 100 times what I make every day than I make in a year. Your time is very precious. It's to the tune of thousands of dollars an hour, and I appreciate your time. You want to know the news, and you want to know what's going on now, and you want to be able to react to it, and you don't want to have to spend 10 hours watching some libtard news program to pick out 10 minutes of truth. Anyway, things we must know to survive in the coming economy. I have an adopted sister and an adopted brother. Of course, Coach Jimmy K is my adopted brother, and I have an adopted sister, and oftentimes she gives a lot of input for the show because it is your feeling and our feeling that women have the right to speak. And so we're giving the news from a woman's perspective today. Very insightful. She's very insightful. Anyway, a note from our advertisers, show you what I got this month. This is the, we don't like the big C. We don't like Alzheimer's, autism. We like seaweed, because there's a billion reports that talk about the effect of seaweed on these diseases. And I'm not going to go into them. I'm not allowed to. And we got more essential bees. They're right here to order. And we actually got them. And the new bees are actually better than the old essential bees. They have more vitamin B. I know the bottle's bigger, but the new bottle, same amount, but they got more differences, more different. So they're better vitamin Bs, and all the things that I take, all the things I look at that help reverse neuropathy, they always have high levels of vitamin B. So we're using vitamin A for the eyes, of course. My eyesight went from, of course, we use Get the T's stuff because it's most effective. My eyesight went from 2150, now it's down to 2040 when I squint like this. I don't need glasses anymore. I've needed glasses since I was 23 years old, since I started reading books in college and graduated. Anyway, essential bees. Apparently what we eat robs our body of the A's and the B's, and probably C, D, E, F, G. But the A's affect your eyesight and the B's affect neuropathy. So we've got 2 more essential bees, which I had on order. Love this company. Won't buy herbs from anybody else. And so that essential bees is only available at Get the Tea, and it is the most powerful bees, because you look at these other medications, they got just a little bit of vitamin B and then a bunch of garbage. Fillers. Well, this is a whole lot of vitamin B and no fillers. So that's why I go to Get the Tea. I don't use one every day. I use it every other day because it's very powerful. Right now, my body's getting rid of an autoimmune disease I got when I took liquid Advil. Oops. My fault. Anyway, on to Medicare. A lot of changes coming up for all of you. Medicare, Medi-Cal, Medicaid. There's almost, there's 15 million retirees on Medicare. There's 40 million illegals on Medi-Cal and Medicaid, free Medicare. And then there's another 100 million people sucking off the government for Medi-Cal and Medicaid. A lot of changes coming. I got 2 medications at a private pharmacy. It was $180 to buy it from a private pharmacy. Hello down there. There's nothing down there. Just a little bit, a couple inhalers and something else. $180. Costco, with Medicare and the $900 a month we have to pay for insurance, would have charged me $210 and then charged the government another $200. Instead, I just went to a private pharmacy and bought it for $180. You might find your medications are cheaper at a private pharmacy. Even though Medi-Cal, Medicaid, and Medicare don't kick in, you may find it's cheaper. Now, I find it cheaper. So there's a lot of changes coming up in Medicaid and Medicare and Medi-Cal. We bring a private insurance gal on board, and she realigns our insurance to meet our needs every year. It's free in Washington State. They get a commission out of this. We're going from about 100 different insurance companies covering Medicaid, Medi-Cal, Medicare, like You can find it in the back of a Medicare book. We're going down to 1. National Socialism, Nazi. We are becoming a Nazi Medicare state. Medicare is owned by J.P. Morgan. Medi-Cal is owned by J.P. Morgan. Medicaid is owned by J.P. Morgan. Blue Cross is owned by J.P. Morgan. Blue Shield is owned by J.P. Morgan. And all these companies that are selling out are being bought up by J.P. Morgan. We're going down to a 1 insurance company. National Socialism, Nazism. And that one company, J.P. Morgan, is controlled and owned by BlackRock, the CIA. Larry Fink claims to be a Jew, but he's not. He's a Satanist, worships Lucifer. He's no more Jew than this box is. So, but he claims to be a Jew because he wants to kill the Jews. So he says, I'm an evil Satanist who's a Jew. Because he wants them all dead, because he needs the Old Testament and the New Testament burned. So expect a whole lot of changes in Medicare in the next few months. Actually, the sign-on period, I think, is October 17th or something like that. So expect a whole lot of changes in a month and a half. And grocery stores are closing down. Fred Meyer closed down. Well, what happened to the homeless if they have a grocery store to steal from and then they have a vacant lot to live in? That's where you'll find the homeless. Sorry, they're still spraying us. So the major grocery store in Tacoma, the huge grocery store right up the street, just closed down. Well, what happens now is the homeless then branch out to the local gas stations and start stealing. Now remember, the federal government created this. They started paying cities, counties, and states $10,000 per homeless person. So we've got 10,000 homeless people in Tacoma. That's $1 billion, and the owners of the city of Tacoma used to take in $1 billion a year. But now they take in that extra $1 billion so you can't arrest the homeless. So you can't arrest the homeless in Tacoma. Trump's supposed to send in the National Guard. Where's the National Guard? Sitting on their thumbs spinning. Oh, we're going to move in 250 lawyers to take care of all the illegals. 250 lawyers from the Department of Defense for 3 million backup cases ain't going to do squat, President Trump. So anyway, Mobile station closed right behind us because there's a homeless camp there and they were stealing from the mobile. The Walgreens is closing because of the shoplift right next to us. And down the street, the Chevron Union 76, since the mobile station closed, the Union 76 is going out of business because the homeless need food. And the only way they can get it is to steal. So here's the Fred Meyer, and they're moving out like a pack, closing this store, closing that store, closing this store, closing that store. They're moving out like a pack, robbing and stealing. Now, many of the stores in central Tacoma had their cash registers stolen, turned out by the FBI, so they have to go all digital. Can't use cash. So the FBI is behind a lot of this, because after all, they give the drug gangs their drugs and the guns. Glock 41s now. They used to give them little Colt 45s. I know, the drug kids, they're honest. They don't have anything to hide. It's the FBI does this. So now, thanks to the federal government and Trump not suspending the $10,000 per month per homeless person, so if your city has 10,000 homeless people, the owners of that city get an additional $1 billion. You see, the money's paid into the city coffers and then they suck it up. The city manager gives them $2 billion. He gets a cut of and the chief of police gets a cut, and all the cops at the bottom get nothing. All the firemen at the bottom get a 3% pay raise in a time of 20% inflation. I'm excited about it. Anyway, so it is the federal government that has created the homeless problem, and it is the federal government that's still paying for the homeless problem. And when Trump finally gets off his dead butt and cancels the money going out, the homeless problem will disappear like that. Because you see, then the city owners won't get those hundreds of billions of dollars. And they'll look around and say, well, we've ended up closing all our stores, get rid of the homeless. Send them all to Chicago, like my dad used to do. When he and my father were mayor and vice mayor of Princeton University, give them $100, go to Chicago or we'll kill you. They never had any homeless in Princeton until the libtards took over. Anyway, And low-income housing, you can expect as an American, you will not get low-income housing ever, unless maybe you're a really double minority like a female black. You will not get low-income housing. Salishan is 73.8% Korean refugees, and they give the homes away. They bought almost 500 homes at $500,000 apiece, and they're giving them either to minorities or illegal aliens. You figure out what that costs Social Security. 500 homes at $500,000 apiece out of Social Security to give the foreigners and minorities. If you're white, you're going to be homeless. Period. If you're a woman and your husband dies and you're white, you will live in your car. Are there any questions? This is what's coming. You have to know this. If the FBI returned what they had stolen, we could build a lot of communities for the women on Social Security. But since the FBI is stealing everything, we can't build those communities. And Trump is not going to arrest 40 million illegals. He's getting 3 of them here and 4 of them there, and Tren de Agua blows up a ship, blah, 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 blah. Big frickin' deal. There's 40 million of them to deal with. Eisenhower did it in 6 months, 15 million, right back to Mexico. Trump can't do it in 4 years in office, and now another 7 months. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 8 months, 200 days. And he can't start returning millions. Nobody gives a rat's rip. So there will be no low-income housing for Americans. And freeze-dried companies, and there will be no arrests. He's fighting a losing battle in court. He's not a man. He's a wimp. Stand up like a man and do what you said you were going to do, Trump. Anyway, freeze-dried food companies are being bought out like crazy, and their food, I try it, it's getting worse and worse. Thrive is gone. Huge. But then they did some really stupid things like, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Mount. You got 100 people underneath you in a day. We have to take them all away because we don't think you could handle it. That was the doom. Since they came against me and they came against hundreds of other people from YouTube, their sales have plummeted. The first month they lost $20 million in food sales. That was 10 years ago. That's the equivalent of about 60 million today. Thrive never recovered. They sold a lot to the United Nations and the underground bases, and when the underground bases are filled, Thrive shut down. Now the new companies that are sprouting up, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but there's always Simply Clean Foods. They've been going along. You need freeze-dried food, you go to Simply Clean Foods. It's that simple. So food prices are going to go up. This shrunk in size. It used to be about that long. They shrunk it. They made the cracker smaller. They made the box smaller. You're going to see lots of shrinkflation. Not due to food costs. Food costs at the farm are down. It's due to corporate greed and corporate taxes. The government wants more money, more money, more money. Somebody's got to support 40 million illegals. Somebody's got to support 100 million refugees at $8,000 apiece. So you're going to pay for it with higher food costs and higher gas prices. Because you can't get Trump to stop the refugee pay. He won't do it. Over there, they got all the low-income housing at Salishan, and they're getting $8,000 a month. That's why they're driving brand new 2025 Beamers and Mercedes, because they're getting $8,000 a month. And Trump won't stop that. I don't think he has the guts. But that's my opinion. He doesn't need to have the guts to call me and say thank you. He's a gutless wonder that gives speeches. Anyway, I gave up on him. Safe deposit boxes are going away, so expect higher food costs. But Amos Miller, the Amish, food costs are the same. I just bought 10 pounds of ground buffalo for $7 a pound. Almost no fat. It was on sale. He has sales. My God, the Amish have food sales. It's organic. It's grown organically. And Chance, who has no heavy metals, no pesticides, no herbicides, Simply Clean Foods, his prices are like this while the grocery stores are going up and up and up. So it's cheaper to buy freeze-dried food from Chance, And it's cheaper to buy from the Amish Amos Miller than it is to go to the local grocery store, which is now closed, so I have to go way down there for groceries. I have to go across town to get groceries. Anyway, safe deposit boxes are going away. Banks are closing them down. And the safe deposit companies that are out there are being raided by the FBI because the FBI agents get to keep what they steal. And the courts won't touch them now, so get your money out of a safe deposit box now. And the penny's no longer being made, and the nickel will no longer be made. Next year, we're going to a digital dollar. There's nothing you can do. Just be ready for it. Gold and silver is the only thing you will own. That's why we go to Noble Gold. Noble Gold Investments. Gold and silver is what we own. And the White House is planning for huge inflation. That's why they're getting rid of the nickel. The U.S. Treasury will print up a bunch of specialty dollar coins. They'll charge $10, $15. They're worthless. Don't buy them. That's why we go to Noble Gold. If they sell a nomadic coin, it's really a nomadic coin. Not some, we see a lot of coins on eBay. We don't know if they're silver or not. They got naked women on them, cows, bulls, sheep, whatever. They're only worth what they're printed as, unless they're truly nomadic coins. So don't fall into that. Oh, you're getting one of 50 coins. Forget it. It's a bunch of hype. And we're going to see an increase in wars. Venezuela's putting troops on the border with Colombia. They want the cocaine. The CIA says attack Venezuela before they cut off our cocaine source. So the United States sent 4 warships to Venezuela as they recall 4.4 million reservists. Yeah, 4,000 Marines will probably take out the leader of Venezuela. But he's ready to take the cocaine fields from the CIA. And that's why we're preparing to invade. Heaven forbid. And they're still holding on to the Golden Triangle in Burma, using Russian and Chinese weapons as the people are revolting. The Golden Triangle may see a collapse. The economy in the Golden Triangle, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, is collapsing because as the U.S., they have 1,000% tariffs on U.S. goods, 500% tariffs. As the U.S. does counter tariffs on them, they can't sell anything. They charge us a 500% tariff on our stuff, so we're going to charge Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos a 500% tariff on their stuff. Suddenly their economies are collapsing. Tit for tat. They can't use slave labor to sell crap to America anymore. So the Golden Triangle economy is collapsing. And so that'll be more wars, more conflict, more revolutions. And we're going to see an increase in the libtard states of sales taxes, income tax, property tax, dollars per mile taxes, and taxes on gold and silver. Why? It's very simple. Because Trump won't arrest anyone for violating state or federal law. There's a cap on state taxes of 1%, property taxes. We're over 2%. Plus, if you include the property taxes they're charging for power bills, we're at almost 3%. Trump needs to send in the troops to arrest the governor and legislative body that's doing this because it's illegal. But this is no arrest Trump. So you can expect the libtards to increase your taxes at every level, illegally. And Trump will do nothing about it. And finally, we're going to see an increase in censorship. If Trump wanted to stop the FBI from censoring us so we can save his life and stop a nuclear war, don't you think he would have done it in the first 4 years in office? He ain't going to do it. Somebody in the White House is stopping him from paying the FBI. So they will censor us because they want a full-scale nuclear war in the White House. That's the only logical conclusion, according to Bouvier law, that anyone could draw. And sorry, YouTube, I said the magic word, nuclear war. Because Bouvier law says, and it's the law, that a normal person would conclude that if someone is censoring you for trying to stop the assassination of a president and a full-scale firecracker exchange, and if someone in the White House is censoring you and the president won't stop it, that means the president wants to be assassinated in a full-scale nuclear exchange. It's the only logical conclusion in Bouvier law. And since they keep quoting the rule of law, which means the satanic priests who are the judges make up the law. No, we have laws on the land. And the logical conclusion is somebody in the White House at the top is forcing this full-scale firecracker exchange and the full-scale elimination of Trump. And since Trump was in office for 4 years, and now he's been in office for 200 days and he hasn't stopped the censorship, past performance is not indicative of future performance? Well, yes, it is. And what we're going to look at is an increased censorship until you will bow to your government and bow to the government of Lucifer and do exactly what they want, eat what they want, live how they want. That's where we're headed. Go ahead. Turn on your TV and suck down the beers like all my neighbors. But that's where we're headed. Wake up, America. God bless. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.